How's it going, guys? And welcome to the very first RLF1 video podcast. Pretty similar, really, to a normal podcast, but with my face on it. And it's me on my own, where I'll be talking to you guys about anything to do with F1, with the latest news this week from the world of Formula 1, and my thoughts and opinions on certain topics, which I have got down today. But all the topics will be in the description below. You can just click on a specific topic that you want to hear, and I will, and you guys can just sit back and relax on there. And this is going to be a weekly thing. There may be 2 episodes in a week for this, but so we'll see how it goes on there. And there'll be special guests as well throughout the series that I do this as well. So without further ado, let's begin with next race in China. Pirelli have announced the tyre allocations for the Chinese Grand Prix, and interesting enough, both Mercedes drivers of Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg have gone for different strategies, which is very interesting. With China this week, Pirelli are bringing the medium, the white stripe tyre, the soft compound tyre, the yellow stripe, and the super soft, which is the red stripe on there, where with Hamilton going for 4 sets of mediums, where it's one more than Nico Rosberg has, where Rosberg has gone for an extra set of the soft tyres, with both of the drivers taking 5 sets of the super soft, which is most likely going to be used in qualifying, obviously. Where in contrast, we have Ferrari, who have gone with 6 sets of the super soft compound tyre, 4 sets of the yellow striped softs, and 3 sets of the medium white striped tyre as well, for both Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen. So very interesting to see how that will pan out for them on there, where if you contrast that completely to, for example, Haas, where Romain Grosjean again has gone for a very interesting strategy, where he pulled off an incredible 5th place in the last race at Bahrain. The Frenchman has gone once again for the aggressive strategy, along with Felipe Massa, of all people, after his atrocious strategy by Williams that day, where both drivers are going for 7 sets of the super soft tyre. Maybe we'll see 3 to 4 stops for them. That'll be interesting to see how that works out for them. So they've gone with 7 sets of the super softs and 5 sets of the soft tyre, and only 1 set of the mediums, which is interesting on there. Even more as well with Mclaren as well, apparently going with 7 sets of the super softs as well. Where in contrast, the other teams of Sauber and Manor have gone for just 4 sets, where Sauber had favoured the medium tyre with 5 sets of their compound, where they are the most of any team using the medium compound tyre for China, where Toro Rosso of Carlos Sainz and Max Verstappen, they've gone for different strategies as well in the team, with Sainz going for the most softs with 6, whereas Max Verstappen will have 5, where he instead will have an extra set of the medium tyres, which will be interesting indeed. Moving on, we go into Jean Todt, who is everyone's favourite person right now in Formula 1, along with Bernie. I won't go into that. Is very adamant that the new regulations for 2017 will be decided in the new revised date on April the 30th, with the deadline originally was supposed to be at the end of February, where it's been pushed back because there's been more and more discussions going on backwards and forwards regarding the power units, the change in the aero as well. A lot has to be agreed before the April the 30th date as well, and it needs to be done, otherwise it's not going to happen, basically, on there. And they're just tweaking on a few bits now, like the rules of the engines and costs, performance, noise, the supply of the power units as well, are the main focus for this agenda that's going to come up. And it will be interesting to see how that's going to work out for them. But I feel that change needs to happen to make the cars even quicker. We have seen signs of the cars getting quicker already, with Hamilton breaking the lap record at Bahrain in qualifying, which we've noticed. And then they were 5 seconds off the pace in race trim throughout the whole thing. Anyway, moving on. There. So Jean Todt come up by saying, we have asked them to agree on engine convergence and to make some proposals to increase further, as already has been one step is the noise of the engine and aero, and it'll be good to see how that is. There's been a desire to make the cars significantly faster next year, but has caused some concern among drivers who feel it may be tough to overtake on there. And for me, for next year, to make the cars look pretty will be nice and make them more like wow, the wow factor, make them look like if you're going past a car showroom, you just look through the window and just stay there for about 4 hours. So it'll be nice to see that. Is interesting enough in terms of the aero. Half of it, the idea is go at half of it in terms of getting a quick lap time will be down to mechanical grip, and the other half from aerodynamic downforce as well. So that'll be interesting to see if that comes out throughout there, and I'm looking forward to seeing that next year's regulations. So may see spring some surprises in terms of who will win the championship. Will Mercedes still be dominant? Will we see Ferrari even get close to them, or maybe Red Bull coming back to their glory days of their amazing streak they had of winning the drivers and constructors championships? And finally in the news, McLaren, and they're taking some further medical tests for Fernando Alonso ahead of the Chinese Grand Prix, which is the next round of the championship. And he believes in himself that he's confident in making a return in Shanghai. Obviously, you guys don't know, Alonso was ruled out of the Bahrain Grand Prix last time out after tests found out at the centre in Bahrain, the medical centre, showed fractured ribs on the wake of his violent crash in Australia with Esteban Gutierrez of Haas as well. And obviously because of that, Van Dorn took his seat at Bahrain, and obviously we know what Van Dorn did. He did a fantastic job on there. But Alonso came out on Instagram posting him getting himself, he's in the gym, he's getting pumped, and he's want to get back in the car. And I want to see him back in the car because there's been a lot of speculation around him recently, including a certain Johnny Herbert came out and said that Alonso's has to retire. And Alonso, funny enough, raided a live broadcast of Sky, and oh, it was funny. If you haven't watched it, guys, you need to go on YouTube and look at it. It is fantastic, and we'll see how it goes on there. But obviously, with these medical tests that McLaren are doing, it's not down to them. It's down to the actual doctor who's in China for the next round of the championship as well. We'll make the final judgment at the next event, which obviously is in China, and that'll be next Thursday or a week tomorrow once this goes live. And Eric Boudet was asked about the chances of Alonso getting ready for the next round for China, and he said he's going to the scans. FIA will inspect them and decide if he is deemed fit to race or not. He also feels that he had no doubt about him staying at Bahrain, because a lot of people thought, oh, he's not racing, he's going to go home and just chill by the beach and have a sunbed out and just go relaxing like that. But no, he stayed at Bahrain, gave some excellent advice to and support to Stoffel Van Dorn, and we'll be talking about Van Dorn in a few moments. And it's just the media speculating and all that, and we'll put a bit of a spanner in the works for Alonso's mindset for the next few races as well. So we'll see if Alonso does come back from this, and if you guys feel he does, then let me know in the comments below, and we'll see how that goes on there. Now on to the feature, which is going to be happening every week, and it's going to be me discussing, giving my thoughts and opinions on certain things. And the first thing we're going to be talking about is the glorious young drivers from this year. And we've got Pascal Wehrlein, we've got Jody Palmer, Ria Haryanto, and I'll throw Stoffel Van Dorn in there for this race as well. And they've all done stellar jobs already in different aspects. On the Van Dorn, as we saw in Bahrain, got points in his first race for McLaren. First Belgium to score points in a long time as well. Pascal Wehrlein doing a fantastic job for Manor. And looking at the speed traps, I noticed as well, like Manor are up in the top 5 for top speeds. Just to show a massive comparison with that Mercedes powered power unit in that car. They are quick and fighting with the mid-pack, which is fantastic to see for them as a team, considering where they were last year with 2015 Ferrari engine, or 2014 old Ferrari engines, and yeah, 2014 engines actually, and to see them now fighting with them is just great. Ria Haryanto, he's not been up there, but he's learning the car. It's his first season in Formula 1. Obviously, Pascal Wehrlein obviously had testing with Force India and Mercedes, so he has an idea of what the car feels like. But Haryanto just jumped in the car, drove, and he's learning, and he will pick up pace as the season goes on, and maybe fight with Wehrlein and try and battle who will be the number one driver. But if I'm honest, it will be Wehrlein who will be number one in that team as well. And Jody Palmer, we haven't mentioned a lot about him. He was a bit unlucky in Bahrain, but he has got that pace. I see quite a potential in him as well. And it's nice to see his father and a relative by his side at the Bahrain Grand Prix, which is good to see. But going on, Speaking of young drivers, and Van Dorn's performance in Bahrain was just fantastic to see. And he's got a bright future, and this race has just solidified that he will race next year in F1. Whatever team he's going to be in, we don't know yet, because apparently there's been a lot of teams going to McLaren and just having a little cheeky chat with him just to say, oh, we've got this and blah, blah, blah. And there are possible options for Van Dorn. We have Ferrari, obviously, I don't think he's going to go to Ferrari. I feel that's going to go to either... there's been rumours about Daniel Ricciardo going to Ferrari, Hulkenberg, Max Verstappen. They're the three that I can think of off the top of my head who will go to Ferrari. So I don't think he's going to go there. Maybe Williams will be a possible shout. But there was a massive rumour going around in the pre-season before Maldonado got kicked off the team and Magnussen took his place that he had talks with Renault. And that would have been interesting because he would have been back with his team principal who he was with ART at GP2. So that would have been an interesting combination, that would have. But I feel it's right for him just to get another season. And he's going to Japan. He's in a Super Formula series over there, which is somewhat relevant because of the regulations for next year. So give him a lot of practice going in, and then they'll obviously jump the boat for him to go to McLaren for 2017 in the seat. And that will leave who will take his place, who will he replace. And it will most likely be Jenson Button. It's his final year on his contract. He's on a rolling contract now. So it will be interesting to see if he stays, but we'll have to wait and see, really. But I feel Van Dorn has got a bright future, and the rest of the young guys on the track, like Verstappen himself, Van Dorn, Pascal Wehrlein, to name a few, they are all future world champions in my opinion. And it'll be nice to see how that goes. And we'll see how they go. On to Sauber. Now, I have seen a video that someone posted on YouTube about this, and I did a bit of research that they may not race in China, which is quite a surprising thing because Sauber were a consistent mid-pack team, and now they've just fallen back slightly. And I feel this is very concerning, and I feel that they might not be in the sport anymore. Maybe in the next year or two, or maybe even earlier than that. But there was a rumour going around that they may not even race in China, which is quite concerning because, in my opinion, we don't want to lose another team because we've got 22 cars on the grid, which is just a nice round average size to have, which would be great to have a lot of cars fighting for positions and giving us, the audience, a great viewing. So it would be a shame to lose Sauber, and they've had some fantastic drivers over the years. They've had Kobayashi, obviously now with... who have they got? Marcus Ericsson and Felipe Nasr. Kimi Raikkonen in 2001 when he made his debut on the... obviously Sauber, particularly Sebastian Vettel, who was there for that one race, if you guys remember that. And it would be a shame, really, but they've had a lot of controversy with, one example, Guido van der Garde, when he had the seat, and then he got kicked out of the seats instead of, I think it was Nasr or Ericsson, I can't remember which one it was. And a whole shangbang went off, and he won the case, and Sauber were quite embarrassed with that. So I feel it is worrying, and I hope they don't lose, because I don't want to lose another team in Formula 1, because we had Caterham, and we nearly lost Manor as well. So it will be nice to see how that goes, but we'll see. I mean, do you think Sauber will survive? Personally, in my opinion, I think they need a lot of backing, really, if they've got any chance, really, and a lot of development is needed on their car this season, because it isn't the best. It's basically a carbon copy of 2015's with slight adjustments on a few things as well on there, so we'll see how that goes for them. Quickly, basically going to review the first two rounds of the championship and see where each team stands. Mercedes are just Mercedes at the minute. They're just dominant in everything, which is quite worrying for the rest of the pack and us as viewers, because it's just a two-way fight for the championship again. Same year, Hamilton-Rosberg, Part 3, which is obviously not good for us as viewers. We want to see other teams like Ferrari, which we were hoping that would be up there. They had quite a promising thing in Australia, but with this engine problems that they have, especially with Vettel's engine blowout on the warm-up lap, before they even got to the grid, he didn't make it, and his race was over, so that's a massive dent to his championship. Raikkonen, obviously with a decent performance and got on the podium in Bahrain, engine blowout again for Ferrari, so the reliability, they need to sort that out before at least the mid-half of the season if they want to stand any chance of winning this championship, or for giving a chance of beating Mercedes. But I feel it's gone already, I feel. Mercedes, they've done them on strategy, they've done them on reliability, and it's a shame, really, if this is the case. So, we'll see. The mid-pack of Williams, Red Bull, I feel Red Bull will beat Williams this season, in my opinion. Williams has just been atrocious on strategy calls, especially in Bahrain with Massa and Bottas with their weird strategy of using a long stint on the medium tyres, which is something I didn't really want to see. I didn't want to see that. As a Williams fan and a Bottas fan, I didn't want to see that. And at the time, Bottas shouldn't have got a penalty, but then I found out that he did brake a lot later than he should have done. So I kind of take that statement back on there. So Red Bull have done consistently well with Ricciardo, decent points finishers, and Kvyat as well. He didn't even start the race in Australia for the second year in a row. Funny fact. But he did pretty well in Bahrain and had a nice little run. So we're good to see how they are. Force India, where they had a decent run. They had a bit of unfortunate in Bahrain, but they did pretty well to come back on there. Mclaren, as we mentioned, with Van Dorn doing pretty well for them, and Alonso's crash on their Woody race, we have to wait and see. But I feel McLaren are a lot better than they were last year in terms of where they were as it was last year at this stage. Their engine is a lot better. It's more reliable than last year, and it's got power, which is what a lot of McLaren fans, I know a certain someone who's a Button fan, will be very happy as well. But obviously he had a bit of unfortunate in Bahrain with an ERS failure apparently. So hopefully McLaren will bounce back from that. And they look pretty good, and with the developments that they've got planned, they could be up there, I feel, in the next year or two. Bit of a bold statement for myself, but I am notorious to bold statements, and they've gone right, so we'll see how that goes with them. Sauber, as I mentioned, they will stay where they are. I don't see them improving whatsoever. Haas have just been amazing so far, especially Grosjean. A 6th and a 5th place so far in the first 2 races for the team is just incredible. Gutierrez has been unlucky, obviously with his crash with Alonso in Australia and issues at Bahrain. Nothing to worry about for him, it's just the car itself. Apparently it was down to the Ferrari engine again, I think. If someone can correct me on that, that would be fantastic. Manor as well, doing a fantastic job as always. On the with Verline doing a decent performance as well, and they were up there in the speed traps, which compared to last year is a great job for Manor. So it's good to see that. I'm really happy for them on there. So I'm going to leave this, guys. So I want to thank you guys for watching all 20 minutes of this, if you've watched this. As I said at the start, I'll put panels in the description for my opinions and topics of discussion. And if you want to see me do this live, then let me know, because I will do it. I would love to do this live. Bit more pressure on me, and see how it goes. And there will be guests, guys, as of next week. So this one I want to do on my own, and I'm going to be bringing different guests on every week from the wide range of the F1 community, from the big to the small YouTubers and the ones in the middle as well, which would be great to see. But I'm going to end it there, guys. So thank you very much for watching this, and there will be another podcast over the weekend or on the start of next week. But thanks, guys, for watching this. Hit the like button if you do like it. And as always, guys, Carb DM sees that day. I'll see you guys very soon for another video. Until then, see you there.